I forgot. Yeah, you told me. Remind me. I'm like, I forgot.
Happens to me all the time. Like I'm in the middle, I have these events, and then like halfway through somebody will be like, did you hit record? And I actually, this is funny, I actually have a piece of paper here on my Mac that says record Zoom, but it's always there, so it's like I don't even really realize it's there. I just need to take it off because it's not working apparently. I probably should just make it, I think you can make it so it starts recording right away. I think that's just what I need to do, just to let it record, and if I don't want it to be recorded, then I can always cancel it.
That would be, yes, that would be amazing if Zoom would do that.
Right?
Because,
Yeah. Yeah, they might actually. I'll have to check it out.
yeah.
So, all right. So you do, I didn't figure we'd want to go over the video again because I feel like, we already had that. I wanted to make sure, since that was last week for me, that I would make sure we touch on the stuff that came up in the video, because those will be the things. And so just because I know you heard a podcast already, just to get a curious, do you have a general feel for what the ChiRunning is based on the video I gave you, and kind of, okay.
Yeah, I've been kind of like listening to some videos from Danny and other people that have used it in the past. So it's I guess I have tried to implement some of the things in my run, but it's just I don't know if I'm doing it right. So it's the thing, like how to position the feet. That's like mainly the thing, I guess, and the tilt.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
don't know how to do it. So I wonder if I need to do the walking first.
Well, we could talk about both today. I'll give you some tips, and, I'm going to say some drills, but I can give you some ideas on how you can practice some of that. So that helps me to understand, that the lean, the tilt, as you say,
Uh-huh.
we could definitely get into that, and I'll give you some tools, because there's a lot of videos and stuff out there. And even in the True Tribe, I know you just got in, and, there's a lot of stuff, so it's easy to get overwhelmed. But if you go into topics, then there's a ChiRunning, ChiWalking topic. So there's a bunch of stuff in there too.
Awesome. Okay.
Yeah. So
I'll check it.
there's a lot of stuff in there. So, I get you just got in, but,
So
so
it
yeah,
was,
why don't we just start with, so just to kind of reiterate, right, the whole idea with ChiRunning is to learn how to move your body in a way where we really don't want to use your legs so much, because legs is, where a lot of injuries happen. And it's also just not an efficient way to move. And so the idea is then to use your body as efficiently as you can, and that, of course, the thing I love most about ChiRunning, well, there's so many things, but I really love the fact that it's a practice. I think we talked about this maybe too, that, you're going to learn it. Like, I'm always practicing. Danny, the founder, I mean, he's 70 years old and he still practices. Like, he'll go out on a run, he focuses on stuff, it sounds, but that's what we always say, practice makes progress. You're never going to be the perfect runner, right? Because in everything, your body changes, things happen. But so you're always going to be working on something different. And, there's so much with the ChiRunning. So like today, I'm going to cover the stuff that came up in your video for sure. And we'll go through the posture. So even in this hour, we're probably going to cover a lot of things. And, don't go out tomorrow and try to put it all together, right? I'm going to tell you how to put it all together, because it's a process. It's meant to be that way.
yeah.
Which again, I really like. And the fact that, I mean, I'm a perfect example. I mean, I've run 250Ks on back-to-back weekends. I've averaged, I did 19 miles on Sunday. I haven't done that much mileage in a long time. I don't recommend that to people. However, because I have the technique in my body, I was still a little sore, but I was fine. I didn't get injured at all. I don't get injured. So
It's just fascinating.
yes, it's amazing. It really is. And, a lot of it takes, again, it takes practice. And, so the first thing I always like to do in any class or when I'm teaching anybody, I have you just do kind of like this body sensing exercise. So I'm going to have you like cross your hands like this. Okay. And I want you to notice what thumb and index finger are on top for you. Okay. And then what I want you to do is I want you to take your hands apart and then put the other index finger and thumb on top. Okay. And so how did that feel?
It feels, strange because it's not like usually what I do with my hands, or
Right.
it's not the right, yeah, the usual position.
Right, exactly. So when I said, because we're all different, everybody's different. So I didn't tell you put your right or your left hand. You just did whatever felt comfortable for you initially when I said do it. So then when I had you do this, exactly, it's like awkward. It's a little different. But if you kept practicing doing this, it would be fine. So,
Yeah.
so the message with that is really just to know that, you've been running for a little bit and you're picking up some different pieces. If it feels the same as what you've been doing, you're probably not going to be doing it, right? Like you should feel definitely a little different things in your body as you're learning. And of course, I mean, you have my number, you can text me. I'm always available. If I can't answer right away, I won't, but I'm always available, if you run into
Hmm.
problems and stuff. So,
Awesome.
and the biggest things with ChiRunning is really we want to make sure everything we teach has to do with, not getting injured. So we really want to help people limit injuries, because really the goal is to do this for the rest of your life. Like I said, if I'm 90 years old and I'm on a trail and something happens and I drop dead, I'd be a happy camper. I want to do this as long as I can. And so when you're not getting injured, it lends itself to really becoming not just a practice, but a lifestyle, right? Like running is my
Definitely.
form of cardio. This is what I do for cardio. Of course, I might do some other stuff, but running, walking, hiking, those are my favorite things to do. And if you're not getting hurt, then you can keep doing it.
Exactly.
Right. So the whole idea, and Danny got a lot of this from Tai Chi. So again, from the background, that whole idea that, of alignment and relaxation, that's like the principal foundation of ChiRunning, is when you get your body aligned properly, meaning your column, your posture, those are all interchangeable words. Your arms and your legs should be as relaxed as possible and just along for the ride, right? So that's
Hmm.
the goal, and it takes a little bit to get there, but that's the ultimate goal, is to really just work. So working on your posture, and like that's something you can work on outside of running. You don't have to be running to be working on that. So we're going to get into the posture right now, and even just as you're sitting first, and we're going to talk about seated posture, because you sit in your car, you sit at your desk, wherever you're sitting, you can practice this. So the more you practice it, the more, again, it'll be familiar in your body. And then when you go practice it in running, it'll feel more normal because you've been practicing it already. And, there's so many reasons to be in good posture. It's not just about running. You could Google benefits of good posture. I mean, anywhere from self-confidence to breathing better, your blood circulation, digestion. I mean, good posture is related to so many things. So, and when you see people out there that are older than us, right, and they've kind of got that body where they start kind of like hunkering down. I mean, we have this gravity that's coming down on us all the time. And by getting nice and tall in your posture, you're counteracting that force. And so that's what we want to do, is we want to counteract that force by being in posture. So when you're sitting, right, like I have my computer in my hand right now. So like right now I'm kind of like sitting sunk into the chair, I'm back. So the thing that we use, and this always works for people, because we talk about the crown of your head, right? The crown of your head, it's very important to recognize it's back here. It's not the top of your head. It's like right here, kind of where the twirl would be, the colic, exactly. So that's where you want to lift through the crown of your head. So when exactly. So you just feel like, and we always talk about, a very good analogy is that you're a puppet on a string, right? And so you have this string and it's just pulling your straight up. And now if you take your hand down, you could feel now, I think about my spine feels very straight and tall, right? You may feel your abdominals engage when you're like this, because you're activating your core, which is what you want to be activating. And if you looked at yourself, your shoulders should be right over your hips, right? Whereas when I kind of sink back like here, my shoulders are way behind my hips. So, right, your shoulders are over your hips and your feet should be on the ground. I'm not too worried about seated posture, but just to at least get this part down. So literally, which I'm hardly in my car right now because I'm not driving anywhere, but when I am in my car, my seat is very close to the steering wheel. It drives my boyfriend crazy, but that's okay. So I keep it very upright. And I also put my rear view mirror just up a little bit higher, so it forces me to stay in good posture. So there's these little tricks that you can do to always be mindful. And that's the other thing I like about ChiRunning is, a lot of times, and you can still go out on a run and listen to music and space out and do your mental thing into running. But really the cool thing about this is that we talk about your mind and your body working together, right? It's very much a mindful practice, where a lot of power running and a lot of running, they talk about mind over body, right? It's like, suck it up and go through the pain. You can do this, get your mind over your body. That's not really effective, because if you're really having an injury, that could turn into something really bad, and you may not be able to run for another year. Who knows, or ever. I mean, I've had people that have had that. So am I talking too fast?
No,
Okay,
it's
good.
good.
I talk fast normally, and I want to make sure. I know you said this isn't your main language. I'm Italian, so I talk fast. I can't help it. So, but the fact that it's a mindful practice is very important, because this is, it's basically you're learning to connect your mind and your body together, which is also very important as we age, is to start using our brain more and being mindful. And
Yeah.
it's really about you becoming your own detective now, right? So I'm going to tell you, this is how it should be. And so if you start feeling any little pain or something's going on, and you might be like, oh, maybe I'm overstriding a little bit, I can feel my knee a little bit or something, my shins. Oh, now your body's talking to you, and your mind is like, oh, I know what I need to do. I need to shorten my stride a little bit. So then you shorten your stride, and then you feel, and you're like, oh, okay, that worked.
Mhm.
So really
Mhm.
it's about your mind and your body working together, and just learning how to keep doing that. So
Adjust.
yeah, like I started meditating after I became a ChiRunner. I never meditated before, and I try to do it daily if I can, but it's also another
Uh-huh.
practice, like mindfulness. And again, in the True Tribe, I have a lot of stuff about mindfulness, because I just think it's such an important practice.
Yeah.
Especially nowadays, we do everything so mindlessly. We're way too much in our head, 50 million things going on. Everything's like automatic. There's no slowing down, right?
Not at all. Yeah.
Right. So this process, sometimes we say it's not about the running, like this process of learning ChiRunning, really you'll see a lot of stuff carry over into your everyday life as well, which is great. I think that's and that happens with running in general, right? But
Uh-huh.
ChiRunning, I think, adds a whole different. And so body sensing is another thing that we talk about, just exactly like I described it. And
Mhm.
you'll see me again in the tribe, or you'll hear me. The first thing I always tell people when it's like, listen to your body, because your
Mhm.
body knows, right? Like a lot of times, again, our ego's saying, oh, you should go out and run because that's what you need to do right now. But maybe you're not feeling 100%, and people will then still go out and run or do something that you shouldn't, and your body was telling you all along. But too many times our ego takes over, and in running,
Yeah.
that happens a lot in running, right? Whether you want to get faster, all of those things.
Mhm.
So I definitely would say, as you're learning the process, don't even worry about your speed. We say in ChiRunning, there's our formula is form first, right? Because you want
Mhm.
to get the form into your body, right?
Mhm.
And then distance second. So let's just say the 10K is your goal right now. So you want to be able to hold your form for a 10K, right? And
Mhm.
then speed kind of just really happens as a function of the form. The more you get into the form, the more you get relaxed, the easier it's going to be, and speed kind of just happens, right? So we could talk about more speed later in the game, but right now that's
Mhm.
basically what we want to focus on, is just really getting the form in your body. And again, the getting it in your body doesn't have to be just while you're running. It can be while you're walking around. It can be while you're sitting and you're standing. So let me go ahead and actually start with, we'll get into that then. So if you want to stand,
Okay.
and then, yeah, you can just put
Let's
that.
let's see if this thing works to put it right here. Cause okay, let me just get rid of this thing that I had for the computer because they get so hot. Uh,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
do I need to get further
No,
away?
that's good right there. I can see you right there. I'm going to have you face me first so you can watch me, and then I may, move around, and, again, it's not as easy as we are in person, but it still works. It'll.
Thanks for accommodating. It's
Oh
awesome.
no, this is great. I love it. As a matter of fact, yeah. I mean, I may do more of these actually. I didn't think about something that I could offer. I'm just, I've got 50 million things going on, but it's a nice hour, and again, you can get a lot in this hour of time. So.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Right. So now the whole idea of getting aligned and getting into your column is because what we really want to do is we want your structure, being your skeletal system, your ligaments and your tendons, to be the ones that are supporting your body. We don't want your muscles to do the work, right?
Mm-hmm.
So even if I just have you just stand, nice and tall, and if you just walk in place, right? So if you're just walking in place and just feel tall, and feel the difference of this versus now if you bend at the waist and just bend over a little bit and still keep,
Just like this. Oh, that's too much.
so just bend over like this, and then keep doing this, right? And now stand up again. Okay, and then bend at the waist again. Okay, which one feels a little easier?
This one for sure.
Right, right, exactly. And so what's happening there is because when you're nice and tall, your core is engaged, your spine is aligned. As soon as we bent at the waist, now your spine is not doing work anymore. So the first thing that happens, and whatever your body, right? Like my quads like to kick in. So I started feeling my quads right away. You might have felt it in your glutes or your hamstrings. So the idea is to really get the alignment and getting your structure. Can you still hear me? Because my AC went on, so I don't know if is that still okay?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, good. Because it sounds loud to me, but as long as you can hear me, that's fine. So,
Yes.
so when we talk about alignment, there's two different types of alignments in ChiRunning that we talk about. One is directional alignment, and that means that we want all your body parts going in the same direction, right? So that, for example, when I was talking about your upper body rotation a little bit, this right here, you're not running side to side. Everything is going this way, right? So we want all your body parts basically pointing that way. And one of the first things that we'll talk about when we get into posture is aligning your feet and legs. Okay. But then the other alignment is postural alignment, which is really going to be that idea of getting nice and aligned so that now we're kind of counteracting gravity coming down on us, right? So the first thing you want to do for standing posture is if you look down to your feet, and now I'm going to show. So if you get your hip bones right here, like right here on your pelvis, so you can feel them, your feet should be right under your hip bones.
Okay.
Okay, and they should be pointing forward. Okay, so if for some reason one of your feet was splaying out, I don't remember catching that on your video, but if like one foot, like if one foot went out this way, we want to make sure that they're straight. Okay. So that's not a huge thing, but at the same time, what happens is your ankle is connected to your knee, which is connected to your hip, right? So we've got 3 major joints in our lower leg, and they're all connected with fascia, ligaments, and tendons. And so if at the bottom your feet are going this way, what happens is all of those muscles, fascia, and ligaments, they start pulling, right? So it gets shorter on one side, longer on the other side, and that's how injuries can happen. So the idea is, again, I didn't remember catching that on your video that you had a splay, but just something to be aware of.
Yeah, I think what I was doing was because I have gotten like used to walk like one foot in front of the other.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
So they were going like, let's see. So I think they were going a little bit like that.
Yes.
And we used to like kind of walking almost like.
Yeah. Did you do like balance beam or ballet or something, or is that no? Okay.
Yeah.
And it's funny because honestly, sometimes when people, like, I'll ask people, like, for example, I had a lady who was on her toes all the time, and she's like, I used to be a ballet dancer. And I'm like, well, that explains it. Because sometimes things that you do repetitively in your life manifest in your body.
Yeah, but when I was like a teenager or like even younger, like I used to watch some of the models on the rundown on the
Yeah.
and I noticed how they would like walk like that. So sometimes I would kind of like remember that. So it's
Okay. That's funny. I like it. But again, now you know. So the idea is when you walk and run, your feet should land right under your hip. So they should be just directly right under your hip. So this is something, again, you can practice even while you're walking. You just want to make sure you don't want to do that, because what could happen by having that in is now that leg is coming in towards the other foot, and now you're going to pull on your IT band, all of that. So this is something to get, again, all these little things you don't realize, right? It adds up.
no. Yeah, until you pointed it out, I had no idea.
Well, but it's cool that you realized why it was happening. I think that's kind of neat too. So when we start with posture, so feet are pointing forward, okay, and then the next thing we're going to do is we want to align our column, is what we call it, right? How I said ear over shoulder, over hip, over ankle. And in order to do that, we're basically going to get our body weight over the arch of our foot. So if this is our foot, right? And the way the body sense that is, if you think about where your toe and your big toe and your foot meet, and your little toe and your foot meet, and your heel, you create a tripod is what we call it, right?
Mm.
So you want to feel your body weight even on all three of those points. Okay. And so what I usually tell people to body sense, like if you put more pressure on the two front pods, like on your toes, right? Like I come forward a little bit. So now you can tell you're not even anymore, right? I can feel my shins, maybe my calves engage a little bit. Whereas if you come more on your, maybe you come back a little bit and now it's just your heel more that's, I can feel my lower back a little bit. I mean, everybody will feel different things, but as soon as I can try to get right back on that tripod, you should feel your body weight right over the middle of your feet. And it is easier to feel when you don't have shoes on, right? So when you can practice this later with your shoes on, but it's just better to feel it this way.
Yeah.
So you're on, so now you have your tripod. So now you can feel your body weight, over all three of those points. So you should be right over the arches of your feet. Okay. And then what you want to do, so we just did the bottom. And if you did have one thing to think about with the shoes, just as like when you do put your shoes on, make sure you don't tie them too tight.
Okay.
I don't know if you do or not. That was one of my first aha moments with ChiRunning, is because I used to tight my shoes on, and they don't, like, you're not pushing yourself anywhere. Like my shoes are, I can slip my foot out. I don't even untie my shoes ever. They're tied very loosely, and I run with them that way. I don't even untie or tie my shoes. So keeping everything, again, the ultimate goal is relaxation. So the less tension that you have, which if you have tight shoelaces, that would cause tension, right?
Yeah.
So the idea is to avoid and eliminate tension as much as possible, mental tension and physical tension, right?
Yeah.
So you're on your tripod, and now what I want you to do, the same thing we did in your chair, right? So now here's the crown of my head. So if you even put your hand a little bit above the crown of your head, right? And then try to reach up to get to the crown of your head, to your hand, right? So you can feel now that feeling, right? And now go ahead and put your hand down. And then so all you're doing is lifting. Make sure your knees didn't lock, okay? Yeah, it's okay.
They did lock.
Did they lock? Yeah, I know, because that happens all the time. I've been doing this for 10 years, so I know what happens when people do this. That's why. So now as you're lifting through the crown of your head, your knees are just soft, right? And so now you should feel, and think about relaxing your shoulders. So, let your ears, like put as much space between your ears and your shoulder as you can. And remember what I talked about in your video is that you tend to look up a little bit.
Yeah.
So when you lift through the crown of your head, your chin should naturally just be here. So your chin will naturally drop, right? So it's just like this. So you just, because so from here, right, if you just pull your chin up a little bit, right, like all of a sudden I can already feel like I'm going back. So from an energetic standpoint, you want to be going forward. You don't, once you lift your chin, it kind of throws you back a little bit. So you're going almost the opposite direction, right? And then it puts different pressure on your body because, our heads weigh like 8 pounds. And if you move it, it can cause more problems with your posture. So it's lifting up your head, chin just drops naturally, okay? And the goal here is shoulder over hip. So I'm going to show you something, and then I'm going to have you do it. So what happens sometimes, and I can see this in your video a little bit, you tend to arch your back a little bit, right? So right here, my shoulders are still behind my hips. I mean, I'm exaggerating this feel. So what I'm going to have you do is, if everything from here, my spine were absolutely straight, I'm a bust of a statue. From here, my fingers go on my hips, and then I'm just going to go ahead and bring my shoulders forward like this. And you can see the difference from here, it's from here to here. Okay. So maybe if you get sideways, so I can just make sure. So position yourself sideways.
Yeah. What I have observed that I do is, I do arch it. Like I tend to stick this out. So I kind of like go like that. Okay. So now just straight, and then do I need to like tilt this a little bit?
Yeah. So here's what you want to do. So if you see me right here, right? So actually the idea is just from here to just bring your shoulders up.
Okay.
Okay, and then stay right there. So, and then you still have a little bit of an arch. So then what I would ask you to do is think about your rib cage here and just drop your rib cage down a little bit towards there.
Okay.
Okay, and see, there you go. Now I can see your shoulders directly over your hips. So memorize this feeling. Again, you're going to have this video, which is fantastic. You're the first person I'm doing this with, so this is kind of cool. You know, don't share it with anybody, of course.
No.
Right?
Awesome.
So from here, now you should almost feel like you're almost going to fall forward in a little bit, right? Like you might feel a little bit, like if I came from behind you and kind of just nudged your shoulder, you would fall forward.
Right.
Right? Okay, so, and again, we always say with this, like, I know you want to feel relaxed, and I hate to use the word relaxed in this position. It's just because it's not normal that you know, really think about your posture. But I mean, I could stand like this all day, you know, like if you just, so what's happening is now my structure is holding me, you know, my muscles aren't really doing any work. My structure, my core, my, you know, everything's, and then as soon as I say, cut the string, you know, or stand how you normally would stand. Imagine you're at the grocery store and you're waiting in line. How do you stand? Like just kind of.
I usually stand like that.
Yeah, me too. So like I'm like this, right? Like I'm just like, you know, this way, this leg's out here, and
Yeah.
it might feel comfortable because that's what my body likes to do. It's this thing again, right? But as soon as, and I do that, I mean, you know, not so much now. I don't grocery shop that much anymore. It's like, you know, in the house. But from here, you know, that whole idea then is then once you get nice and tall, and if the more often you repeat this, you know, we say repetition is king. So the more often you can focus on this, anytime you're just doing anything, I will caution you though, we talk about gradual progress in ChiRunning. So like tomorrow, I don't know what you do. Like if you sit at your desk all day for work, I'm not sure what you do, but tomorrow don't try to sit in good posture for 8 hours because your body's not ready for it. So, you know, maybe every hour, just do it for like a couple of minutes. But the idea is it's more about repeating the habit just for a little bit than trying to stay in that position for hours. You know, it's really about that. So that's getting into good posture. So once you're in good posture, then now your structure is holding you. And again, now we're going to be ready in the position to now move forward. Okay. And so here's where now we get into the discussion of, and I don't know if you've ever heard the word dantian. Maybe in some of the YouTube videos from ChiRunning, I don't know. So the word dantian is, it's not a location in your body, it's an energy center. Okay, and in Tai Chi and in Eastern philosophy, basically, that's where all your chi is stored. It's where all your energy is, right? And like, say for example, another way to think about it is your gut feeling, right? I don't know if you ever had that where, you know, your gut, this is listening to your body, right? Your gut tells you something and you either go with it and you're like, okay, good, or you didn't and your gut was right. Right? Usually your body always knows. I always say, listen to your body knows. So the more you can really cultivate that relationship with the mind body, the better off you're going to be. Right. So another way to think about your dantian, if that's a little bit harder to, you know, sometimes not everybody can wrap their head around about this energy thing. The area that I'm talking about is the absolute center of your body. All right. It's your center of mass. So if I were to take you and cut you into 4 even pieces, it's that same exact spot. Okay. So what I'm going to have you do is we're going to do just a little exercise. I'm going to call it an exercise. So you can find it, so you can locate yours, because this is a very important part, because everything in ChiRunning is moving from your center. It's all about learning to move from your center. So if you put your thumbs in your belly button, okay, and then put your index fingers down here. So you're almost making a heart, right? Okay. And then you take your index finger and put it right in the middle, right? So right in the middle of there. And if you were to go in like your entire finger inside your body, right, that would be where your center is. So now if you just put your hands right here, you can just cover it, right? And I'm going to have you, because body sensing this location is again, very important. So while you have your hands here, okay, first thing I want you to do is make sure you're in good posture and alignment again. So just make sure you're lifted through the crown of your head. Just still keep your hands here. Okay. And I'm going to ask you to close your eyes. Okay. And what I want you to do is think about that location inside your body. So it's about a fingertip in behind your hands right now. And I want you to to visualize something there. Like mine's a purple ball. Okay, so put a shape to it, put a color to it, but something where you can actually see that center. Like you can actually, you put your mind there so you can really kind of see it and feel it almost. I'm going to have you feel it. So keeping your eyes closed, and make sure you're, again, lifting through the crown of your head. Put your attention to your center or your dantian. Keep your feet where they are and just move your dantian a little bit forward. And then move it back. Now move it to the right. Good, move it back. Move it to the left. Good, go back. Go forward again. Good, and then come back. Okay, and now you can open your eyes again. Did you feel yourself move?
Yeah.
Okay, I could see you move, and I have to open my eyes because that's how I know you're getting it, is to make sure you move. So,
Yeah.
right, so again, so what's happening, this is where we say your mind directs your chi directs your body. So we basically said just move it slightly forward, and your whole column went slightly forward with it, right? This is why it's important to get the alignment down first, because if not, what might have happened if you weren't aligned, you might have just went like this, forward,
Yes.
right? Versus where your whole body went forward. So this goes back to that tilt, the lean that you were talking about, right? And so the idea is that's going to be your location from where you move from, okay? And so again, it's called your dantian, your center, whatever you want to call it, but it's an important piece that you need to be able to visualize, because you're going to move from your center, and we say you move from your center and you take your body with you, right?
Okay.
So you move your center, and then your whole body is going to go with your center. Okay.
Yeah, it's true. Okay.
Right? Yep, your whole body just came with it. So that's basically, this idea of letting your center move you, and that's why it's important to stay aligned so that your whole body just goes with it, right?
Okay.
So that's basically moving from your center. And to give you a drill that you can practice this with, I'm going to just kind of direct this to a wall so you can see what I'm going to do. So what I've had people do is I might get about a foot away from a wall. I get into my posture, and then I kind of just practice this feeling of slightly falling forward.
Okay. Move with the center.
Yeah, it's just a little drill you can do. You don't have to worry about doing it now, but just so that you have another tool. So like, like sometimes if I'm cooking or I'm doing something, again, I geek out on this stuff. I mean, I've been teaching it, but I'll sit there and I'm just like, and just against the counter. And so the key though, is to make sure your full foot stays on the ground when that happens. Okay. You don't want to get up on your toes, because if you move too far forward, you're going to get up on your toes, and you don't want to run on your toes.
Keep the foot, the tripod.
Yes, you want to keep your tripod. Yes, exactly.
Okay.
So you can. It's not going to be a big movement. We call this in ChiRunning. There's a window of balance that this is where the speed's going to come. Don't worry about it now, but I'm just telling you. So when you put you're going to feel this when you go practice. You're going to put your center in front of your feet, and you're going to get into a nice little warm up pace. To go a little faster, then from here you're going to go just a little bit more. And then a little bit more, that would be race pace. And then maybe anaerobic is a little bit more. There's this window. At some point you lean too much, you have to use your legs to hold you up. So it's not really a big, it's maybe 1 to 4 inches, maybe.
Max.
Max. And again, don't worry about that right now because you're not worried about your speed, but this is the concept. So in ChiRunning, to get faster, it's all about leaning. Okay, it has nothing to do with your cadence, which we're going to talk about in a little bit too.
Okay. Perfect.
So now what I'm going to have you do is, even just from where you are, first of all, a quick cheat way to get into posture, because so usually what I'll do is I'll start with aligning my feet again. I got to make sure I don't hit the fan. I don't want to cut my hand off. I don't want to cut my hand off. So I start out with my feet, then I take my fingertips and I reach as far up as I can, up to the sky. Reach, slightly forward. So my hands are like a little bit more in front of my body. and then I drop them down. Make sure your knees aren't locked.
Uh-huh.
And this is about the same thing. So, and you might need to make sure that your rib cage is down just to make sure you didn't get into your arch. But yeah, so maybe do it so I could watch you. Yeah, go sideways. I just want to make sure.
Okay. Is that a good look or
Yeah.
should? Yeah?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, you're good. It's perfect.
Just go like that.
Yep. 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 Exactly. Good. And then go ahead and let your hands drop down. And then, yeah, you still need to do that little rib cage adjustment. Yeah, that's okay. Just be aware of it. It's just a little small adjustment. Yeah, and you know, that's this right here. The arching of your back is called an anterior pelvic tilt. It's not uncommon. It happens, you know. So getting used to, and of course, there's other things you could do like corrective exercise to fix it, or that's where a PT would come in and help you. You know,
It's because like, yeah, you think, oh, you know, as a woman, you always have to like stand up like that with your bum and like your back is like, really?
I know. It's funny. A lot of things that we learned are bad. It's like you think about even with shoes, right? I mean, heels. Heels are the death of women for our bodies. It's like the worst thing ever for our bodies. Yet
I hate them. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, thankfully, I don't need to because this is what I do for a living. So I'm always in tennis shoes or barefoot as much as possible. But yeah, so just always remember for you that's just going to have to be just a little bit of an adjustment that you just need to drop your rib cage down just a little bit. And I'm going to email you a quick 4-minute video. It's actually in the Try, but in the interest of not having you worry about trying to find it, I'll send you.
Okay. Thank you.
It's a great video on posture that it's not a ChiRunning one, but it's from somebody else. And they really talk about this rib cage drop. So I think it'll be helpful to just hear it from somebody else too. So I'll email that.
Oh, perfect. Thank you.
Okay, so now we got the posture down. We got the idea that you're moving from your center. So now what I'm going to have you do is I'm going to have you actually start out in a little bit of a walk first, right? And you could just, you could do it in that space there. So what I'm going to have you do, let me tell you first, and then I'll have you do it. You're going to get into alignment, right? So I'll demo first. You're going to get into alignment, and then you're going to put your attention to your dantian or your center, and then you're going to move your dantian, and you're going to let your body follow. So you're going to kind of just walk around. And I just want you to feel what happens.
Okay.
When you're moving with your center. So don't let your feet get in front of your center. Your center's always in front of your feet. So maybe just even start. Yes. I'll repeat that enough times. Center in front of your feet. Center in front of your feet.
Does that look about right?
Yep, that looks great.
Am I exaggerating too much now?
Yeah, it's okay. You look exactly like everybody else does when I tell them to do this in a class. Yeah, no, it's okay. How does it feel, honestly?
Well, because I am trying to adjust my feet so that they don't go in front of my center. Mm-hmm. It's awkward at first, but because I have to be thinking about it, and I try to correct myself. It's kind of uncomfortable when I try to keep it front.
Sure. Yeah, and that's this thing, right? And again, that's why this is all a baby step process, right?
Yeah.
Let me have you feel it now. I kind of want you now to jog around. So do the same exact thing, and then I'll tell you what's happening. So same idea, get into your posture. Yeah.
Should I make this lower or no?
That's fine. That's perfect right there. Yeah, that's good.
Okay.
Good. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Keep coming back and forth. Good. Good. Okay. And then you can stop and get back into the camera. So how did that feel?
It feel kind of different still, but it's normal.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I wouldn't expect it to feel the same. And really the cool thing about your video is you weren't really overstriding that much. You were overstriding a little bit, but not a ton. But what happens when you move from your center, and you keep your feet behind your center. I didn't tell you to land midfoot, but that's what you were doing.
Oh, cool.
You weren't even on your heel, right? Exactly. Because you really can't heel strike when you're, so now what I'd have you try just to feel the difference. I'm going to have you do the same thing, like kind of jog around, start with your center in front of your feet. And then, you know, then after you do that, then I want you to put your foot in front of your center and I want you to feel the difference.
Okay.
Okay. Just so you could body sense, because it's important that you can feel the difference so that when you go out on your own, you could be like, oh yeah, I know exactly what this feels like.
Yeah, definitely. All right. So translate.
And this will start come, the more you practice, the more natural this will become. I know it's a lot of steps, but good. Yeah, so keep center in front of your feet. Keep your center in front of your feet. And then next time around, put your feet in front of your center.
Oh.
Right?
No, it doesn't work.
Right? Doesn't that feel weird?
Yes.
Because what's happening then when you put your feet in front of your center is not only are you braking, so remember that wheel that I made a picture of? The picture of the wheel in the video. So when you put your center or you put your feet in front of your center, then all of a sudden now you're kind of braking, right? You're kind of slowing yourself down. When you have your center in front of your feet, now your feet, you're not using your legs to propel yourself. When your feet go out in front of your center, we do what we call pawing the ground. So your feet come out and then you're pawing the ground. And so you're using your legs to propel, where when you're like this, gravity's pulling you. So you notice, well, we didn't even talk about the lean. I didn't talk about the lean or the tilt. Your center's in front of your feet. That's all you need to worry about. Center's in front of your feet, and your core is holding your body up. You're just, all your feet are doing is supporting you as you move your body weight from right to left. Right? So it makes it for a much more, so your stride, you probably felt your stride a little shorter. Right? I would imagine. And so as far as breaking it down, this is why I don't like to tell you what to do with your legs, because when you do your center in front of your feet, it happens. And now I can tell you what's happening, but you're not going to overthink it, because if you put your center in front of your feet, everything else will come together. But what you want to do, I'm going to do this down here like this. So if my center's in front of my feet, I'm landing midfoot. My knee and my hip are everything's right here. So I'm landing with my feet right under my body. My feet do not come out in front of me. So I'm right here and I fall forward. And so my foot is landing right under my hip, which is right under my knee. My foot is right? Yeah, does that make sense? So your foot lands right under your hip, which is also right under your knee.
Okay.
So even as, again, don't worry about speed, but even as you were to get faster, if your feet were here, you're still going to have, your feet are still going to land right under your body. You don't need to reach out with your feet.
Oh, okay.
All right. Good. All right. This is good. Hold on. Let me look at my notes because I want to make sure I get, all right. Dropping your chin. We talked about that. We talked about the upright. The hip drop. I want to talk about the hip drop and cadence, and then we'll do a little arm swing too. Let me see.
Yeah, the hip drop. Yes, you mentioned that.
Yes, the hip drop. Oh, good. We're doing good. We're perfect. Okay. So I'm going to, again, kind of drop this down so you could see. So what happens is if I get into good posture, right? So now you can't see the top of me, but trust that I'm getting into posture, right? And so what happens when my body's in posture, this is what we would call the one-legged posture stance, right? Let me roll these up a little bit higher so you can see my feet. So when I'm in my one-legged posture stance, I'm still lifting through the crown of my head. See how my knees are even, right?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to cut the string, as I say. So now I'm going to let my posture not be aligned. And as soon as that's what happens. So this shoots out. And so as soon as I lift from the crown of my head, it kind of fixes it. So if you want to get, let's do the alignment piece again. All right. So starting out with your feet pointing forward, get on your tripod, just takes a couple. And then lift through the crown of your head. Make sure your knees don't lock. Again, this will become natural. Trust me. It just takes a little bit. It's all new stuff. It's okay.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. So now, the thing that we say in ChiRunning, again, your legs are going to basically support you as you move your body from right to left. but they're not going to propel you forward, because that's where the injuries happen. That's where all the inefficiency happens. But they still need to support you. And really the muscles that are supporting us, again, are your core muscles, okay, because that's holding our structure. And then our glute medius. So our glute medius is part of your pelvis, and it's like right here. So when I get into a single leg, that's the muscle that's basically helping keeping me upright and keeping my pelvis level. So if you're really nice and tall, and now if you want to just go ahead, kind of do the same thing I did. So get into this, and then just lift up one leg a little bit while you're still lifting through the crown of your head.
Let's see. Can you see me okay?
Yes, yep, perfect. And there's a little balance here too, right? So now feel, so I can see your knees are even. Now go ahead and cut the string, or and see what happens. Like, let's see, how did you feel how your that knee dropped? Yep, and that cut out, right? So we'll lift through the front of your head again. See how that happened? Nice.
Yeah.
Did you feel it?
Uh-huh.
Okay, perfect.
Yes.
So your posture is really important, because what's happening in your video is you weren't aligned with your posture. So every time you landed, your hip, we call that the Mae West exercise, is what Danny calls it in the book, which nobody knows who Mae West is anymore, because she was back, I say the Lady Gaga, or Shakira, you think about Shakira or something, but it's, so let me have you feel this with both feet on the ground, right? If you just bend your knees and let your hips go out side to side like this, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, this is a lot of lateral movement, right?
Right.
Here, this is exaggerated, you wouldn't run this way, right? But if you did, you could really hurt your IT band, right? Yeah. Now, from here, get nice and tall in your posture. Okay, so feel your core engaged. Make sure that you're lifting through the crown of your head. Good. And now try to bend your knee and do the same thing, and feel the difference when your core is engaged. Right? It hardly moves.
Yeah.
Right? Because your core muscles are now keeping everything structured the way they need to. As soon as I cut the string, as I say, woo, yeah, right? It's sexy, but it doesn't help us run better.
No.
It's not good for running. So that's what that hip drop is all about, is just making sure that you're keeping the integrity in your structure. Okay.
Okay.
And it's crazy that you think all of that is connected. So when you go out and practice tomorrow, or tonight, I don't know when you're going to go out and practice, one of the things I'm going to recommend for you to do is do it the way I told you to do it. And then for a little bit, kind of like I had you do when I said, move from your center in front of your feet, and then put your feet in front of your center, so you could feel, it's an exaggerated difference, but it still helps to feel like that just doesn't feel right, right? I want you to do the same thing with the string. So I want you to really focus when you're going to go out. You're going to focus on lifting to the crown of your head. You're going to run. And then I want you to cut the string, and I want you to feel what happens.
Okay.
You'll feel the difference. It's kind of crazy.
Perfect. Okay.
So, okay, cool. So we got that down. Let me talk about arm swing, and then we'll finish it up with cadence, because we could just sit down and talk about cadence. Well, maybe I could do stuff. So the arm swing in ChiRunning is, it's very counterintuitive to think how important your arm swing is, but it actually plays a very important role, mostly because as we're falling forward, the elbows are counterbalancing our forward fall. So it's all about physics, right? So if I was falling forward and my arms were going forward, I wouldn't, it would not be very efficient. So my arms are basically balancing. It's a counterbalance to my forward fall.
Okay.
And so a couple of things to keep in mind. Again, we talked about directional alignment. So we want your I've seen people that, this is exaggerated, but you're not moving.
You've seen different, I've seen different moves.
Yes. Arms are crazy. Like, arms are the first thing. I can look at somebody running down the street, and now I swear you're going to start seeing runners, and you're going to be like, ooh, what are they doing? You have all this extra knowledge now, which is great, but you'll start picking things up. And I always tell people, if you're out on a training run or a race, which I know none are happening right now, those people help remind me, like, I might be whatever, looking at the trees, and then, cacti. And then I might notice that I'm like, ooh, what are my arms doing? So it kind of helps remind me to, like, focus on whatever it is that I found from them, right?
Right. Okay.
The key with the arm swing is you always want your upper body is forward. Okay, you don't want to rotate your upper body. Okay, so we even say pretend you have a triangle.
Okay.
Forehead, right? We're all about triangles and tripods, right? So this is a triangle, and your triangle shouldn't be moving. Like this is, you're going forward. So stable shoulders. And then let me have you feel this. So just let your arms swing like this, okay? And just body sense this versus now just cut them in half. Feel the difference, right? So
right, yes.
This feels heavier, right? Because you have to move this part of your arm in space too. Whereas if you do this, now you don't have to move the rest of that arm, so it's just more efficient. So that's one thing. Remember I said, and your arm swing looked really good. There was just a couple of things, but keeping your arms above your waist at a 90-degree angle, okay? 90, shorter is okay too. You don't want them to go below your waist. So they really need to stay at 90 or above, because if they go down, then it's like, it's drag. It's basically dragging your arm, and it's going to be more inefficient, okay?
Right, okay.
Hands, I said that in the video, curled in, thumb on top. It's like if you have a potato chip or a butterfly that you don't want to crush, okay?
Okay.
So your hands just, and relaxed, right? And then what you want to do is take your right elbow, press it back until your right wrist hits your waist. Good, and then your left elbow will come to your waist, forward. And so now, yep, there you go, perfect, good. And now start doing fist to, or wrist to rib. So think about your wrist coming to your rib. Good. And focus on the rearward motion. So think about elbowing somebody behind you.
Okay.
There you go. You feel the difference? So now you're focusing on the rearward motion of your arms, right? Your shoulders are nice and steady. That looks good, right? And so now, so we want to say, like, you don't want to cross your arms. So your arms are just in a natural, they just go out into this V. You don't have to force anything.
They shouldn't be coming like to this center.
Right. You don't want to cross them all the way over. Like if you notice mine kind of come about like almost to about right here. You just don't want to be doing this. So you don't want to, also don't want to pin your shoulders back or anything like that. It's just a nice, you weren't doing that. I'm just saying not to do that.
Okay.
You were fine. You're okay. So yeah, so then feel right here. It's just back and relax. So if you notice, because of the ligaments and tendons in your shoulders, your arm goes back, they come forward by themselves. You don't have to bring it forward, right? So all you do is focus on the rearward motion. They're going to come forward by themselves. Okay.
Gotcha. Yeah, I don't move them. I just try to keep them like this, and they like this.
Yeah, no, so you want to get a nice, and as a matter of fact, we say, again, don't worry about speed, but when you're kind of going at race pace, so let's just say you're going faster, because you need more counterbalance, we actually even say fist to rib. So now your arms are going back even more, because they balance you as you're falling forward. So, again, don't worry about that part for right now, but those are the key things. Stable arm, stable shoulders, so you don't want to be rotating your upper body, right? And then having your elbows pressed back, and then you just let it come forward. There are times that you would focus on the forward motion, but don't worry about that right now. Again,
okay.
I'm doing the 4-hour work. It's a 3-hour workshop if I take the video when I have like 5 or 6 people. So, and really all of it is good in a couple of hours, but I think for 1 hour right now, you have a lot, you're going to have a lot of information to play with, and then we could always follow up.
Yeah, it's great.
All right, let me see if I can find my metronome. I might have forgot it. All right. I left my metronome in my car, unfortunately, but I think I have one on my phone. So let me, because I want to talk about cadence. Perfect. I have 5 minutes, whatever. We might go over like 5 minutes, but let me just, so cadence is very important. I'm trying to find my ChiRunning app here.
Sounds good. That's one concept that I have a hard time understanding.
The cadence?
Like what, maybe because, they explain it so fast in English that maybe that concept hasn't sink in yet.
Yeah.
Someone it's like a measure of how much steps you give or something like that.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, let me explain it. And actually, we could even sit down for this if you want, just to, we could talk about this, and then I'll have you just do a little practice.
Okay.
So we could be a little more relaxed. Yeah, so I'll tell you my personal experience with cadence. When I took the ChiRunning class 11 some years ago, I was a beginner runner. I'm a beginner runner. I just want to learn about running. I mean, 4 hours of this was intimidating, right? There's all this information. And so when the instructor got to talk about cadence, you know, he breaks out with this metronome, it's making noise. I'm like, I have no, there's too much already. So I kind of just blocked it out and I didn't really focus on it. And then when I started thinking about wanting to become an instructor, I was like, well, I really need to get a grip on this cadence idea. Game changer, big time. So I will definitely say the cadence is very important. And so it's your strides per minute, right? So it's how many times your feet hit the ground in 1 minute. Okay. And I think yours, I measured it as about 160, 162. Okay. And so basically what that means is in 1 minute, you're hitting the ground 162 times. Let's just say 160 to make it even, right? 160 times.
1 foot only.
No, that's both feet. That's both feet. So it would have been 80 if it was 1 foot, right?
Oh, got it.
It would have been 80 with 1 foot or 160 with both.
Okay.
Okay. And so, so what happens is I'll try to explain this slower and just let me know. It is a little bit of a mind thing, but once you get it. So if your cadence is slower, so let's just say you're at 160, right? What that means is you're spending more time on the ground. Okay, because you're doing a 160 cadence, and it means you're almost like you're sinking into the ground. Let's imagine it's quicksand, right? So this is like, let's just say, you know, I'm exaggerating, but if I start moving my feet faster, right? So now my cadence is going to go up higher. So let's just say 180, just to make it another round number. You're going to go 20 more steps in a minute. What that means now is that your feet are moving quicker, but you're not letting your body sink into the ground, because when you have more time on the ground, you have to spend more energy to get out of the ground. It's I mean, we're talking 20 steps, right? It doesn't seem like a big deal, but when you feel the difference of running at 160 cadence versus 100, let's just even say 170, and I'll teach you how to get this down, right? We say, and I think I said this in the video, but your cadence, slower cadence versus the optimal cadence, which is 170, 180 strides per minute, is the difference between running into the ground versus running across the ground. Okay. So if you're going just a little bit faster, it doesn't mean you're going any faster pace-wise. I'll explain that in a second, but you're just going faster by picking up your feet faster. Then what's happening is now you're running across the ground instead of like clump, clump, clump. You know, I'm exaggerating, but you just to kind of get the idea. So when your cadence is slow, there's a lot more opportunity for injury, because you're sinking into the ground. And if you're heel striking, then you're adding the impact of the heel strike, right? Whereas if you're just moving, you're picking up your feet faster. Okay. So the idea with the cadence then, you know, like I don't have my metronome with me. It's in my car. I forgot to grab it. So first of all, what you want to do is wherever you are. We always say in ChiRunning, right? You start where you are. You know, you want to start with where your body is, what it's doing right now. So let's just say it's 160, 162. Then what you can do is, you know, maybe we say you go up 2 strides per minute per week. So if you're at 162, like this week, just do the 162. And then next week you can do 164 and then 166. Okay. And again, you can listen to your body. I mean, if you want to go from 160 to 166 because that feels okay for you, do it. That's fine. You just don't want to go up like 20 strides per minute, because that's going to be a lot. And all that means is you're just picking up your feet faster. Okay. It doesn't mean you have to move any faster, because again, in ChiRunning, the lean is what's going to make you faster. With that one, let's just say the 170 cadence, I do 174 as my happy cadence. Like anytime I look at my Garmin or any of my stuff, if I'm consistent, it's about 174 is kind of where my body just feels natural. Right. I lost my train of thought. What was I saying with that? 174. I'm surprised this is the first time I lose my train of thought because I get so excited and I start talking fast and then I'm like, wait, what was I saying again? I was trying to think of 3 different things to say. 174 is my happy pace. Oh, so if you were in your warm-up pace, right? Like you're just warming up at the beginning of your run and you're still at 170. If you just want to get faster, you don't have to pick up your feet faster. Let's just say your cadence is good. You're at 170. All you need to do is lean a little bit more. That's going to give you your speed, but your feet are going to pick up at the same time.
Wow.
So your speed has nothing to do with cadence. And I
Mm-hmm.
will actually also send you a video of Danny, and it's kind of has like this quadrant where you could see Danny running, and the metronome is set for 1 foot, not 2 feet. But you could see how he's at different speeds, but you can hear the metronome, and he's going the same cadence, but like in one square he's in gear 1, which is warm up, and the other square he's in gear 3. Same cadence.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So, yeah, it's pretty cool stuff. So you can either buy a metronome. I think they have them on the ChiRunning website, or you can get one on Amazon. They're like little, like I have one that clips to here. If you run with your phone, you can get them for free on your phone. I mean, you don't even have to. If you have your phone with you, I would even almost recommend getting the ChiRunning app.
Okay.
Because the ChiRunning app actually will, and maybe I could even. Do you have a couple extra minutes? Are you good if we go a little longer? Yeah.
No, I'm good.
Okay. Let me actually go get my. Hopefully it'll work. Let me get my thing. Actually, it's right here. Hold on.
Okay.
Grab it, and I can show you the app.
Sounds good.
Okay, let me see if I can get this, and then I can share my screen and just kind of give you an idea, because the app is really cool. Are you an iPhone? You must have an iPhone, I think.
I have an iPhone. Mm-hmm.
Okay. I realized that when you texted me, and then, it's so amazing how like, oh, I could just save you in my contacts now, because there you are, because I have an iPhone too. So
Awesome.
let me see. I'm going to share my screen. And this is probably one of the quickest. If you have with the iPhone, I want to say it's a $10 app, which is totally worth it.
Mm-hmm.
Because then you can bring, as I say, Danny out and run with you.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's worth the investment. All of this is an investment for future, to improve. So definitely.
Right? Exactly. Oh, I hit the wrong one. Hold on.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly what, and again, so it's pretty much what I tell people. It's like, this is an investment in your, again, you want to run for the rest of your life. Oh, here we go. Yay. Can you see this? You see my
Uh-huh. Oh, this is
Great.
cool.
Yeah, right? I know. Isn't that amazing? It's so crazy. So I'm going to hit Chi Lessons first. And the cool thing about the app is you're going to have, these are like all little lessons. Now, mind you, we didn't go through all of this stuff, right? Because we didn't. But let's just say, so one thing I want to say is in here, you're not going to hear moving from your center, because Danny changed it. So where it says right here, 3 steps to create your
The 3
lean.
steps to create your lean. Your lean is what creates your forward propulsion, not your legs. It's much easier to balance yourself in a gentle forward fall than it is to push yourself with your legs. Notice how relaxed these runners' legs are, and notice how they're all leaning slightly forward.
Mm-hmm.
So because Danny practices all the time, like we changed the instructor manual 3 times since I've been an instructor, because Danny practices and he finds different ways to teach people. So this whole 3 steps to create your lean, people were focusing too much on their legs. And as soon as we have you just focus on your center, you're not even thinking about your legs anymore. And again, they fall right under your body the way that they're supposed to. So but this is kind of cool, because you can go in, and these are like quick little videos. They're like,
Awesome.
yeah, here we go. Lift the crown of your head.
Keep your posture aligned by lifting up at the crown of your head. This will help to hold your posture tall and lighten your footstep.
So that was like, 14 seconds. So again, there's going to be some things in here that we didn't cover yet. But again, I think you have enough to get you out. You have plenty of stuff. There's the body looseners that we didn't get into. Body looseners are what we do before we go ChiRunning. So you could take a look at these and do these. These are more about getting your joints loosened up, getting chi to start flowing through your body. We don't stretch before we run. especially if it's in the morning, your body's not really quite loosened up yet. So, who is that? Is somebody else coming into my thing? Somebody else in here? Is there another face?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's not till 6 o'clock, Meg.
What?
Yeah. I'm doing a lesson right now. Sorry.
Oh, shoot. I'm sorry. I'll
It's
see you
okay.
tomorrow.
Don't even worry. You're good. No, you're not till 6. You still got time. See you in a bit.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Sorry.
No, don't worry. It's all good. Okay. Let's see. Here we
That's
are.
cool.
It's funny. All right. So you have those, and then there's some post-run stretches. So there's some info here. And then, so this is where you would hit. So you hit start guided run. Okay. And then here, it doesn't matter what the run type is. I usually don't even do anything with that. I just leave it. Here's the metronome. So here, now I have mine set at 174, right? I just told you that 174 is my happy place. I keep it on single beats, and I keep the tick-tock. So that's 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So that's how I'm picking up my feet, right? There's that beep is annoying. So go back to the tick-tock. And then here you would change it. So you might start, you know, because you were at whatever we said, let's just say we put you at 166 just for the heck of it. You know, you could start there. You know, feel what feels comfortable to you. You definitely don't want to push it, right? Like, so if 162, start with 162, which I think is where I felt you were. And then here, there's the chi focuses. So what you're going to do, what you could do, and what I'm going to recommend for you, okay, I recommend this for everybody who's starting. You only want to pick 2 things off of this list, right?
Okay.
So here you can see, now, if I turn that off, then you're not going to see any focuses. Here, I turn it on. I have my chi focuses. I have this set for a minute. So what's going to happen is then every minute I'm going to get a reminder of what to do. Okay, so you could change this to 2 minutes, to 3 minutes, whatever you want. I keep mine at a minute. And I'm only going to say, like, so you can see how my posture says 5, the lean says 3, the lower body says 5. I'm going to have you go in here, and I would just pick 2 things. So let's just say align your feet and legs. I'm going to take these off, and I'm going to play this right now so you could hear what would happen when you're out on your run.
Lift from the crown of your head.
So you're running.
Keep your posture tall by lifting from the crown of your head. As you do this, you should feel your chin drop. You should feel tall without feeling stiff.
And there you go. So then you'd have that reminder, and then a minute later, maybe you have aligned feet and legs. And he would go back and forth with those every minute. Okay. So if you want to have more time, you can make more time. Usually what I do, because I've been doing this for a while, is I pick all of them, and then every minute, like I want to say it's a good 30-minute run to go through all of them. I wouldn't do that yet. Okay. Because you just have, you know, so here's like the cadence. So you would go through these. And so these are all little things that you could pick, you know, lower body, bend your knees. Again, we didn't talk about all of these, but you got enough.
I can go over them. Yeah.
Yeah.
So with the metronome, when it's ticking, I guess, or when it's making the sound, it's when the foot should be hitting the ground.
Right. So I'm glad you said that, because I would have forgot to share this with you too. Let me just make sure I get this bigger. So you can match the sound of the metronome to a couple of different things. A lot of people want to do it with their foot falling, and that's fine. Just make sure what happens is people start feeling like they're clobbering the ground because they're trying to think about your midfoot. We didn't talk about that. So just go with that. See how that feels for you. I focus on my ankle lifting because that's something that I always really want to work on for me personally. That took me a while to really get that sensation. I can focus on my knee bending sometimes too. I focus on my elbows. I would focus on your foot falling for right now. And then we can play around with other stuff, but I think that would be the best thing. So every time you hear the beep, and again, if it feels too fast, because you don't want to get stressed out about it, right? And maybe even, so I would say when you go practice, and again, you have the form focuses here, but I'll also give you some other form focuses. Usually we just say, let's just say you didn't want to do the app. Let's just say, forget the app. I give people a list of form focuses, and I say, pick 2 things off of the list, right? Your first 10 minutes, you would pick one thing. So let's just say align your feet and legs. So if you were doing a timer on your watch, like for 1 minute, align my feet and legs, align my feet and legs, align my feet and legs. What am I making for dinner tonight? Oh, what happened? You know, and so that's that mindfulness piece. So as soon as you're not paying attention anymore, your body's back to doing whatever. So this is part of the running and meditation. And then when the minute is up, then you kind of don't worry about anything for a minute, because it's tiring. We actually say with ChiRunning, it's more mental. You know, the hardest part at the beginning for you, I mean, you notice that when you were getting into posture and you were thinking about all these things, as you're trying to do all of this mental work. So just remember that it does get easier because your body's going to get used to it. So what you're doing right now is by making your body do what you're telling it to do, you're now changing your neurological pathways. And that's the idea. And then once you get, you know, you do it repetition, it becomes natural, and you're not going to have to think about all these little pieces. It's going to come together, right?
Perfect. It gets comfortable. I mean, you get comfortable with.
Absolutely. Yes, you totally will. And then also, you know, when I tell you to look, you have to do it this way, right? It takes effort, right? And so I always say the aha moments will come when you're doing it, you're practicing it, and you're forcing it to happen. So you really can't be relaxed if you're making something happen, right? And then as soon as you kind of relax into it, like however it'll happen, all of a sudden you're going to be like, oh, I'm doing it. I feel it. Like it feels like, oh, and then, you know, something else might happen and you're back to, okay, let me focus on something else. But, you know, my biggest message is to be patient, you know, with the process. Be patient with yourself. And, you know, again, I'm going to send you, it's going to take, you know, I may not do it immediately because I have a couple things to do before the 6 o'clock meeting that I have. So I'll either email this to you tonight or it might be tomorrow.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, with a couple of the other things. And then, you know, we'll be connected online in the tribe, or you can always reach out to me via email or text. But, and in the email, I'll also, you know, just tell you some of the things to focus on. But if you get if you get the app and you run with the phone, I think that's a really good way to start. And just it's really, really easy to try to want to focus on everything at one time. Don't do it. Trust me on this. I tell people this all the time. I mean, even my experienced people, like, I mean, you know, I'm like, focus on this. And then they come back and they're like, well, I was focusing on my foot. I'm like, I didn't tell you to focus on your feet. Just focus on moving from your center. Don't worry about it. Like you can't work it all in one run. You just can't. Right. So, and you see, there's a lot of stuff. I mean, this is exciting for me. Like I like to go out and go like, okay, what am I going to work on today? I'm going to just go out for 30 minutes. I'm going to focus on, you know, these 2 things with my arm swing, and I really want to focus on those. And the cool thing will be is you'll be listening to this stuff, you know, repetitively, and some, you know, every run is a different experience, right? Every single second of our life is a different experience. So it's the same thing with running. So, you know, you're just going to have different experiences. Some of them are going to be like, oh my God, this is so hard. And some of them are going to be like, whoa, this is awesome. I feel, you know. So just be patient with the process. And, you know, again, I'm here for sure. Like I said, I'll probably email you tomorrow, just in fairness, because I just know after my 6 o'clock, I'm done. It's been a long day. Do you have any questions on anything that we went over? Any questions or?
No, I think like you covered the questions that I have. Like one of those questions was the lean forward, was like, how am I supposed to like do it? Like from what part of my body? But now it makes sense.
Good.
It's with the center. So that completely answered that question. But I think as I start studying the app, I think more questions will come up. But it's good to know that we have that app, and it looks like it's a lot of stuff there. So
yeah, for $10, it's a no-brainer. I mean, it's stupid not to. I always tell people like, that's the cheapest thing you can get. And again, you can even watch those videos. You know, watch it before you go out on a run. Just kind of a reminder. You know, and even with this is going to end up in a YouTube. It will be unlisted, so only you can watch it, kind of like your video. And I don't know if you know this, and this may not be, you know, because obviously on YouTube, then you can move it forward to wherever you might want to listen to something again. Or sometimes what I do is you could change the speed on a YouTube video on the settings so you can make it go faster. But now you're going to have like a good hour and 15-minute video that you could refer back to if you're like, oh, what was I supposed to do with my center again?
Yes.
Whatever. So I think this is actually really cool. This is the first time I did a class right when COVID started, and I had a class with, 10 people. So I was teaching 10 people, but I can't really give feedback because I can't watch 10 people in the Zoom call. It's just too many people. So this is kind of fun. It's cool. Thank you for letting me experiment with this idea. I mean, ideally, if there were somebody in your city, then I would say, you go learn from them because you have somebody local. But you don't.
Yeah,
so
sure.
I'm glad I could be your teacher.
Yeah, and I appreciate the time and the opportunity that I have to use this platform and kind of like short the gap in the bridge or the distance, whatever.
Yeah.
It really, like you clarified a lot of things, and now I have like a better idea of how I'm gonna be using the body sensing and all of that. It was like
Good. Excellent. Good. Excellent. So
Yeah.
I'm here. Like I said, I'll email you tomorrow. Seriously, don't ever hesitate. Email me, text me, whatever. I'll get back to you. And then, then as you progress, like focus on this. Like I said, you really have time to worry about focusing on training for that 10K. So right now I would just focus on your technique. Go out for fun, fun runs. Go out and just with the intention of focusing on your technique. And then as we start progressing, then we can talk about, training and all that other stuff. But right now, just geek out on your body and your form and your mind and your body together. It's good stuff.
It is. So thank you for sharing all of that, and I appreciate the time. Thank you
No
so much.
problem. All right. Well, you take care. Have a good night, and I'll see you online or somewhere.
All right. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Bye-bye.